Peter King here in Santa Clara, California at the 49ers training camp. I'm here with Christian McCaffrey. And Christian, my memory goes back to the 49ers game against the Dolphins last year when Jimmy Garoppolo goes out of the game. And you basically now have a quarterback who's never played before in the game, in Brock Purdy. And you dropped a pass in that game. And Brock Purdy came right back to you. And after the game, when I was talking to Purdy about this, he goes, you know, it was really cool. He said, Christian McCaffrey, I used to kind of watch him when I was in high school. And after he dropped that ball, and then I went back to him, he goes, hey, listen, thanks for having faith in me. He goes, Christian McCaffrey doesn't have to say that to me. Do you remember the moment?
Yeah, I remember. You always wonder who will remember your drops, but I appreciate you bringing that one up. But no, I remember that exact moment, and that did mean a lot, because you just never know. You want to let the quarterback know, like, oh, that's an uncharacteristic drop. He came right back to me, man, and I think it was close to ending the half too, so
yeah.
time was running out. So, no, he's a special human being, a special player. I remember when I first got traded here, he was the guy doing walkthroughs with me after the day was done on the turf field out there. I didn't know who he was, didn't know what college he went to, where he came from. All I know is he was helping me learn the plays when I first got here. And fast forward, a few weeks later, he's QB1 and winning a bunch of ball games.
You had really one of the oddest years because basically you go from really a team that was kind of non-competitive, and then I wasn't sure, and I don't know that you were sure whether you were going to go to the Niners or to the Rams, and it was both possible right down to the end. What do you remember about that day?
It was such a weird day, because in my head I was preparing to play against Tampa. I'd gone to all the meetings. I practiced Wednesday, practiced Thursday, went to meetings, got treatment, and I just remember my agent saying it's probably going to happen today. And he had mentioned a few teams, and in my head I was like, look, I know how this works. I'm not going to say one thing or another. I'm just going to wait and trust God, see what happens. And I remember at 11:30 at night I got traded. They said San Francisco, and I was so fired up. Obviously having to watch the run game and watch, the O-line and George and Juice and Debo and Ayuk and the defense that they had. I just played them 2 weeks prior. I knew how good of a team they were. So I was extremely excited. 11:30 p.m., got traded. I was on a flight about 6:30 a.m. the next day, practiced Friday for the Niners. Kind of went off from there. But, it was a whirlwind of emotions because Charlotte was my home. I love it there. I still live there. And I know we weren't winning games, but I did still have hope. We all still had hope. Anytime you show up in a game, in the NFL, anything can happen. I've seen guys win 10 games straight, so I still believe we could win. And I didn't know whether I was getting traded or not, but it was a whirlwind of emotions that ended up being learn the plays as quick as humanly possible. So I don't even know if I got to address all those emotions and couldn't say bye to anyone. There's the trainers and the equipment staff, all those guys who had been great to me for so long, just kind of had to leave.
Did you ever have an opportunity to talk to him, say
anything
anything
I've texted him since and said my goodbyes and thank yous. But it was definitely to use the word you used, it was weird. But I love it, man. And looking back, man, I'm so happy I'm here. I'm so blessed to be in this situation with such a good team and excited for the year.
Why is playing for Kyle Shanahan a good thing for an offensive weapon?
Oh, man, I got a million reasons, but I think he understands football at another level. I think you can tell that he grew up in the business because the offense is so sophisticated, the way he uses his receivers, the way he uses the backs. When you have a weapon who can do more than one thing, like the Debos or myself or George, it makes it so hard for defenses to defend because not only is the offense lasted the test of time and proven to be very sophisticated, his ability to adjust and completely innovate week in and week out is impressive. I love sitting in the team meeting rooms. I think anyone who gets the privilege to sit in those team meetings understands that if you're a football nerd, this is like heaven because you learn about the defense, you learn about gap responsibility and gap integrity, and you learn about route running and depths and steps and space and timing and all the things that it takes to make an offense work. So, yeah, I mean, it's a fun offense to be in.
What was your favorite play last year? You had some big plays for this team last year. What was your favorite play? And describe it a little bit, and maybe how Kyle or your coaches came to you and told you that they wanted this play to work.
Man, that's a tough question. I don't remember. I mean, not that I don't remember last year, but I haven't thought about it in a long time. You know, just pretty dial it in on this year. But I think George's catch when we ran like a boot against Dallas, and we hadn't got any momentum going at all. And Brock and George kind of made an off-schedule play. That kept us in the game. That got a little bit of momentum going against Dallas and sent us to the NFC Championship. That was a really cool play, and obviously.
But that's not you. You felt looking back on last year.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, they were all, you know, anytime you put the ball in the end zone, those are my favorite plays.
I want to ask you about the NFC Championship game and what a strange day that must have been, because you go in there with such high hopes, and then it's like the quarterback injury happens to Brock Purdy, and it's just one problem after another, and by the second half you're just sort of hanging on for dear life. What do you think of when you think back of that game?
I don't think, you know, I mean, obviously it hurts, but I think, you know, I've moved on. I think we all still have that taste in our mouth, but this is a completely different year. And you know, in the NFL, there is no look what we did last year, look what we're going to do this year. It's every single day you have to come with a certain intent. Nothing's given to you. You know, I've seen teams win the Super Bowl, not make the playoffs the next year with the same team. So you got to understand that, you know, whatever your emotions were towards that game, I think we've all moved on. We're focused on today, focused on this year. Looking back, you know, it's an honor to play in an NFC Championship game. Obviously didn't go the way we wanted to, but, you know, those are all things that are in the past, and I think we're all focused on doing everything we can to get back there.
I just saw Brock Purdy practice and play for the third day in a row for the first time after his elbow surgery. What have you seen in Brock so far in this training camp, and how do you think he's throwing the ball?
He looks great. You know, I would never know he was hurt. He throws the ball with zip. He knows where to go. Obviously, there's in practice, you know, I hear people talking about our quarterbacks so much. It's funny to me because having an inside, you know, having the inside scoop on what's actually going on. There's things that we're working on that you might make a mistake here and there, but it's all relative to what you're trying to work on. It's not the actual game. So I think he looks amazing, man. It's so cool just to see him out here. I know how hard he worked to get there, and you know, he put in long hours that nobody will ever know about. But from an outside perspective, just watching the way he works, watching the way he carries himself, and looking at him throw, I'm excited for him this year.
We'll end on this. When I think of you in 2023, I think of a guy who in one game might carry it 18, 20 times. The next game might carry it 5 times and catch 8 balls. The next game might be a downfield weapon in the passing game. You seem to be a total kind of snowflake. Anything can happen any Sunday. Do you think that's true? And if it is, what is it about that you like?
And I think when it comes to football, you know, each play has a life of its own, and so time will tell. You know, I think history and my own career will say that anything can happen. You know, I mean, you can have 30 carries, you can have 10, you could have 15 catches, you can have 4. Just to me, it's just about playing each play in the scheme of the offense, understanding where to go, being where I need to be, and then playing beyond the X's and O's. You know, when the ball's in my hand, don't just do your job. Be great. And that's really what I'm focused on, is just doing my part and helping this team win.
Christian McCaffrey, have a fun year.
Appreciate it, Peter. Thanks, man.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.